Oh well.
Tell the wife to turn off the Tiger King. She can finish Tiger King
What,
up later.
what the hell is Tiger King?
It is this stupid show that's trending all over the place.
Everybody's all right. Let's get the show started. We can talk about this shit uh, live.
How do you get out of an app in the Google Home? It's stupid. Okay, never mind. I'm good.
You good? All right. Oh,
I think
I
so.
guess I guess I should go retweet real fast, and then we'll be good to go. Beep, beep, beep. Where is it? I don't see it. Here it is. Rare. There we go. All right. Okay. Kick into it here. I can actually say it this time without John jumping down my throat. Good afternoon, all my friends and developers out there. This is episode 184 of PHP Ugly, a rare daytime look into the very ugly world of PHP development. I mean, we have like lights on. I don't have to turn on any overhead lights. We're seeing. This is crazy. I'm your host,
Yeah,
Eric
this is
Van
what I look
Johnson,
like in real life. Nice and blurry.
and my very blurry friend here is John Congdon.
Hello, hello.
And also with me, Tom Rideout.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a daytime. It's a daytime show. We're practically a soap opera, man. We're daytime showing it. This is awesome. I'm excited. Uh-oh.
Me too. This means we don't have to record tonight. What happened?
We got Jake Bennett in chat. That's a problem. Jake, I thought you were recording something, man. Don't you have recordings to do? I thought he was recording. Get that vape, Tom. Yeah. See now these people are gonna peer into your world, Thomas. They're gonna see you vape in real time. Exciting stuff.
Yes, and it'll drive them crazy as much as it drives you crazy.
How's everybody holding up with the social distancing?
I'm tired, man.
Man, I feel like my face is getting a nice round shape to it now. You know, just like sitting around all day.
It's
Has that much really changed for you?
Not too much. I'm starting to notice how much like how long it's been since I've seen you, for example. It's like I'm starting to notice that. The biggest thing is the wife and we had like this little routine for a long time where like once a week we'd go out and have breakfast together. It was like our time. We kind of go out, have breakfast, talk about everything going on in the house and stuff. And I mean, sure, we can still have breakfast at the house, but like everybody's still here. It's like everybody is here all the time. It's nonstop. Everybody's always home. So, and
Yeah.
I don't have a big house.
Yeah. The wife and I had a standing weekly hike that we would do just so we'd have some alone time together just to get out, and we've been missing that.
Yeah,
Can't get away from the kids.
yeah. And
yeah, that's can't get away from the kids is the real stickler.
well, it's not only
They
kids. I mean, my kids, they're kids. They're my kids, but they're 22. I mean, they celebrated their 22nd birthday last week, this weekend, and you know, it's like it's a house full of adults right now. It's like what I would imagine like living in a frat house would be. It's like just too many people, just too many opinions. My opinion is the only opinion that matters. Everybody else can
Yeah.
just, you know, that's not working too well for me.
Yeah, it's been a
Oh,
little
man.
exhausting.
Yeah.
I have some news for you guys.
Coding?
What is that?
I did not get the job.
Wonk,
Oh, no.
wonk, wonk. You know,
Wonk, wonk.
is that, did they give you a
Did
particular
they-
reason?
The hiring guy called me and basically said, usually we give people a reason, but this came down to you and one other guy, and you guys were equally qualified, equally good. Everyone liked you guys just as much, and they just decided to go with him. And that was basically it.
You know
So-
what? All said and done, now is probably not the best time to be switching jobs, to be completely honest with you. So
That's true.
And this gives me a lot of time to focus. You know, I was sort of thrust into this because I just got this offer and started looking at it and saying, oh, that's kind of the way I want to go, and realizing that I hadn't gone any particular direction in 7 years besides that. So this gives me the chance to focus on the skills that I'm going to need for the job that I want, and focus on polishing my resume and stuff up, and paying some attention to it.
has it given you kind of a renewed interest in a particular field here?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely renewed my interest in architecture and design.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not too bummed out about it.
Cool.
And they're keeping
That's
me on
good.
record in case they need me in the future. So that's not a problem by my count.
And end of day, I mean, as silly as it sounds, you got that practice, I guess, of getting out there and seeing what people are looking for and seeing where you kind of match up. And you matched up pretty well, right? I mean, you're right there, so that's good, man.
Everything going good with the current company though? They were cool with you possibly looking at something else, and
yeah.
what about? I assume their business is up in this time of the coronavirus.
I don't see a lot of that kind of data, but I would imagine that we're doing okay. It's
I feel like I can make those jokes because I've seen it on the late night shows too.
yeah. I mean, Pornhub has definitely seen its activity increase, and I've heard other companies are seeing a lot of activity increases, but that kind of surprises me that the reason that people were not spending so much money on porn was because they had to go to work.
Well,
that was the thing stopping you?
Well, they just posted in our company chat. I guess the alcohol industry is seeing a spike as well, like a 50% uptick in sales.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm drinking more now than I have in a long time.
Hey, I've gotten a new appreciation for breakfast beers. For sure.
Well, John just got a nice little mini keg dispenser thing.
Did you order that?
Well, yeah, I did. I mean,
what is it?
It was I don't know, some hopsy beer, and they give you the tap for free, which was supposedly like a $200 value. With you get basically 4 mini kegs of beer, which is, I think each one is a 6-pack.
Mm-hmm.
I think
just under
like
a 6-pack.
Yeah, it was like $30.
And you've done the homebrew thing before, haven't you?
I have, and I've never made a good one, and it takes so much time, and I just don't have the patience or energy for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
is this more of a quick to market sort of thing? Like it's not like a homebrew kit. It's just already ready to go.
No,
I'm confused.
It's just kegs of beer. But
it's already the beer.
Yeah.
It's just
it's
a keg of beer, and the tap you just put on your countertop, and you put the keg in there, and you just pour yourself a little fresh beer.
Cool, that's awesome, man.
I figured it was, for the price, it was worth at least trying it.
For sure.
They have this whole subscription model too, and that I'm not buying into yet. Kind of want to see how it goes first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the subscription model is an oddly bad deal. I looked into the whole thing, and like the intro deal is basically you get this little mini kegerator thing, and then 4 6-packs of beer for $30, and that's a great deal. But then like continuing on to buy beer after that is a increasingly bad deal.
I think it depends on how much you're getting, right? If you take part of their gold membership where it's free shipping, but that's $100 a year, so you got to figure that how many shipments you're going to get,
right,
to make it worth it, because the shipping is expensive, I think.
It's like trying to figure out how much to put into your FSA, where you're like, okay, if I'm going every week, it's this much beer, and then I'm calculating, okay, so, and then there's going to be a really bad week in December, so I got to make sure I've got that money set aside for that, and does it break even, or you don't want to end the year negative on your FSA account, because that just goes to waste.
Oh man.
So I'll let you know how it goes. I'm not sold on it yet. It's a trial run for the money that was there, or the savings that were there. Excuse me. The fact that they were given the free tap, and just.
So any coding stuff to talk about? I mean, the most exciting thing that's happened to me all week was Stack Overflow had introduced dark mode. So that's awesome.
I saw that.
I'm just putting that out there. That's the only thing I can think of.
Is Stack Overflow still a thing?
Absolutely. Oh, I love Stack Overflow.
Like every day.
I'm just kidding. I know it's a thing.
You know.
But I had not seen the dark mode thing.
Did I met your son at Laracon US. What, you got to tell me what year that was. I usually try to avoid the young children when I go to conferences. You must have. I'm just kidding.
That sentence started out bad.
There's no context there. What are you talking about?
Look in chat.
He's reading the chat. He's reading the Discord chats.
I am horrible. This is why I should not be hosting a podcast. Like if I get I get distracted. Like people talk to me in chat, I want to talk to them. That's my thing, man. He's Nunez is talking about how I met his son at Laracon, and he just saw me. He just saw me on the stream. So hi, son. Hi. See.
One interesting thing I found is that we are significantly better at this whole recording and broadcasting from home thing than the actual professionals are.
Oh,
I'm not sure if you guys have watched the Stephen Colbert Late Show, but he broadcast basically him trying to get set up with Daniel Radcliffe for 20 minutes. That was the edited down version of it.
They actually broadcast that?
Yeah.
It has been very entertaining to see some of these late shows. Colbert does it. The Late Show does it. The Daily Show does it.
Seth Meyers does it.
Yeah. Seth was the worst one I saw. He was. I mean, he was echoey. He was about everything wrong. I'm like, man, it's like these are professionals. You think they would have at least figured some of this stuff out, but. Yeah, it's been entertaining to see them work through some of the challenges. They're getting better, though. Some of them are getting really good, actually.
Well, I've got a friend who started something called the Quarantine Network on Facebook, and it's just a constant live stream of different artists and educators and things like that, just doing TV shows now from home. And that, when you see Stephen Colbert sitting in his basement little setup, and then you see people who've been doing it on YouTube professionally for 7 years or 8 years, you go, oh, wow, that's a really thin line between a broadcast production worth millions of dollars and a person doing it out of their home.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I don't know if John wants to share it or not, but the contract, one of the contracts John's working on, they're just dropping in on each other, right? Didn't you mention this?
Yeah. So it's basically using Zoom as just a room for developers to drop into. I mean, it's a complete remote team anyway, and I'm surprised we haven't been doing it for years, but it's been nice. Like, let's hang out and can chat, work on pieces together when necessary. I actually decided to pay for a DiegoDev Zoom account so that our developers could do the same thing.
Yeah,
One of these days, I'll actually introduce it to them.
You talk about an uptick in usage, man. Zoom is all over the place now.
Yeah, they became the big players in the whole quarantine situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I'm watching DHH, who's the creator of Ruby on Rails. Apparently, he hates Zoom, and or I shouldn't say he hates it, but he calls out a lot of the issues.
The lack of security, some of the things they've done in the past.
Yeah. Now that's the thing, is everyone started using Zoom, and then that suddenly became a problem because their security is exceptionally bad. By default, the Zoom communication uses just a random 10-digit number, which has no flood protection, so you can just scan for numbers and see, pop into someone else's Zoom chat. It's not an invite-only thing by default.
Right.
There's no passwords by default. So there's a lot of these teach from home situations where people are popping in on a classroom full of kids and destroying the chat.
Yeah. Yeah,
and then
I don't know. I haven't taken that close of a look, but I don't know how much control a presenter has to kick people out as well. I mean, I assume it's there.
You have a lot of control. Yeah, you have a lot of control, but people were being kicked out and then immediately coming back in under a different name.
Right.
So, one of the other things is that it's not a very personal way to deal with group communications. I've heard of companies that are having meetings upwards of 500 or 600 people in a single Zoom meeting.
What? Well, I guess you don't share camp. I guess that's just like LearnCon Online, right? You just have one person presenting. It's not like you have 500 faces on your screen.
You can, from what I've heard.
Wow.
The big example today was there was a Zoom meeting at Bird electric scooters, and they basically had the entire company on all at once and told them that they were all laid off. So 400 people.
Really?
What are you
400
saying?
people simultaneously got laid off by a Zoom meeting that was scheduled to last for half an hour, but everyone just hung up after 2 minutes.
Are you for real?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, so there's about 400 Twitter accounts that are really, really upset at Bird scooters right now, and they're making as much noise as they can.
Weren't they making money hand over fist? I mean, weren't they making a killing? You'd think they'd have some sort of stockpile.
Yeah, some sort of
rainy day fund.
Yeah, they're a startup. They were, I think they were cash negative, even though they were making money hand over fist.
I hate startups. I just how do you operate in the red for so long?
Yeah. That's the really big question, is that we're getting lots of government assistance discussion in the U.S. There's this $1,200 check thing that's going through, and there's the sort of corporate bailouts that are going through. And someone had done the math and said that the cost per person for this bailout is $18,000, and that of that $18,000, you're getting $1,200 back, and the rest of it is going towards corporate bailouts. And
so yes and no. I've been thinking about it a lot, and while I dislike the government in the helping big corporations on bailouts, a portion of it is this Paycheck Protection Program, which we are trying to take advantage of, which basically gives us money to pay employees. So while individuals are only getting $1,200, they're also continuing to get a paycheck, hopefully.
Ideally.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know how that goes, because we're about to dive head first into this It's starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've had a
See,
pretty
we got
rough go at it.
Yeah, I've heard.
yeah. So we're lucky not to be in retail. Retail sucks, but we're also one of our clients is kind of in the retailish space, and they came out with they're cutting all of their employees by half, all of their contractors. So our company immediately took a huge hit. Um,
Uh,
so it's hard. It's really
a
hard.
lot of people are saying that even when this is over, it's going to fundamentally change the nature of business. And on one hand, I agree. But on the other, I don't. Things like restaurants and bars, they're going to be back to the same exact thing. I mean, it's going to be back to what it was. But these businesses that have been struggling since the internet, that have barely floated along or worked based off of mergers and things like that, this is just going to end them. And the idea of going to a retail store and walking out with an item, I think, is going to be a dead concept soon. You might go to a retail space and see all the available items that you can order once you have handled it and approved it. Somewhat like the Apple stores are right now. If there's nothing in stock and they just have a warehousing system that gets it to you within a day, then I think that's the future of retail.
I mean, that's always been the future. I don't know that this is going to speed that up at all. I mean, people maybe understanding that they can stay home more, but most people know you can buy online now, right? It's not a new concept.
Yeah, but people want to touch.
Yeah, and I think to I think Thomas's point, I think this has forced some people to get comfortable with it. Like my wife, for example, the idea of DoorDash and all those services, even like the order pickup stuff at Walmart. I mean, she wasn't a big fan of it. She kind of started using that, and now she's kind of been forced into this role where she's using it more, and I don't know. I guess I can see some of that bleeding over, but again, I don't know if it'll be enough to absolutely eliminate brick and mortar.
Well, the damage it's doing to malls is really devastating. Because if you think about the mall industry, they've got stuff like Claire's, where my friend was a manager and she was just summarily let go. These Wetzel's Pretzels. I mean, all the really mall-specific type of businesses have been struggling for a long time, and this is just going to kill them all. And when that happens, then you're going to have all of these malls that were barely making it throughout America shut down completely.
Well, I have the same thought on like conferences, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, all these conferences being canceled. I forget where we left off our last show, but Tech's been canceled now. Laracon has been canceled. And I mean, when all is said and done, Taylor looks back and says, okay, I didn't have Laracon last year. What was the impact to me? It didn't really cost me money. I mean, how much money does he make from Laracon, and how much does effort and cost does it take? I can see a lot of companies just saying, you know what, we're going to have a second look at these conferences and if they're really worth it. And, look at the success that some of these online conferences have been having and, just start to gravitate towards that sort of implementation, which personally I'd hate to see because, again, the conferences we've been saying for years is more about the social aspect of it and getting to see people that you only see once a year. And, I'm super bummed about that. It's funny, the thought of, knowing I'm not going to see certain people this year, like, Eric Barnes. I've had this thing going with Eric Barnes for years where I get a picture taken with him every year. And I'm going to have to stalk that guy. I'm going to have to fly to fucking South Carolina, stalk and hunt him down, and get a picture taken with him. Just to feel good about myself.
Yeah, where are you going to get your next elephant from, too?
Exactly, man. Yeah, Eric Burns, watch out. I'm coming for you. You'll be you'll be on the bike trail, and I'm just gonna jump out of a bush and grab you and take a selfie with you. I'll be like this, I'll be like.
And it's not just the PHP and the normal tech conferences, but the Detroit Auto Show is canceled. Fairs are canceled. Like the whole carny industry is imploding on itself. Where are they going to get jobs? The whole thing is just crushing this market where people gather in any form whatsoever. The World Mobile Conference was canceled. You know, all these things where you see new tech coming out and new video games and any media stuff, that's just gone now.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a depressing show.
No kidding, man.
I don't think it's depressing. I think it's interesting because it's such a transformative state that we're in, where, you know, right now Zoom showed up as the sort of de facto for everybody because it works correctly. But obviously there's a market space for something that replaces Zoom or improves on Zoom. Obviously Skype doesn't cut it for what people want to do. You know, this
doesn't cut it for this. Recording this podcast.
That might be our fault. We're not sure. But there are so many tech opportunities coming out of this where you say, listen, if this is not sustainable moving forward, then something has to replace it. So it's my opportunity to think about what it is and what it can be. So I'm optimistic about this for the tech sector.
Yeah, the only thing, I was just having this conversation with a friend, is that for so long, I've been saying, if you want work, be a PHP developer. Like, you can say what you want, you can hate on PHP, you can whatever, but there is a ton of PHP work out there. I don't think that's going to be the case for a while. I think being a developer for the next couple of years, if you're looking for work, it's going to be a rough go at it. I think the market is going to start getting flooded with developers who are getting laid off right now because we're easy targets, right? I mean, developers, companies, especially companies that aren't focused where the web is their business. Companies look at developers as expendable. It's like, okay, well, let's just start cutting back developers until that hurts because, all they do is code. And so we have a few less lines of code developed a week. I think being a developer is going to be a tricky thing to do that. And that's why I was saying earlier, it's probably not the time to jump ship on an established job. For better or for worse, I mean, if you're in an established company that's keeping their developers around, it's probably best to stick with that for a while.
Yeah, says the guy who's taken up 2 developers' jobs.
Huh?
I heard you were doing a little work for the company that I work for.
Well, we're taking on some contracts. And again, this is not something that it's a survival thing right now.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, where John and
I was just making light of your survival thing right now.
Yeah, where John and I try to position it where the contracts we try to be as little dependent on a contract for our role as possible. Our role is kind of to run the company. And John's had an exclusive contract ever since we started the company, and it's been his decision not to drop that. He's enjoyed working with them. He's happy with it. It's a good income. But we've been trying to position it so that's not the case. And it's kind of to the point now where it's like I have to make sure I'm coding. I'm getting. I mean, I've always kind of been coding, but I'm getting back into the thick of it where it's contracts are dependent on me as the developer.
Yeah.
So it
needs to be done so that we can keep people employed.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's our main goal, is keep the team together, continue to, fight through this, and hopefully emerge on the other side whenever things somewhat get back to normal as a team.
Yeah. Yep. So it's I mean I don't hate it. I've always said I love coding. It's one of my favorite things. It's a little challenging to code and run a company at the same time.
Yeah.
But we'll get through it. I mean, fortunately we have a great team. They don't require a lot of supervision, so we'll see how it goes.
I've been on more phone calls with clients in the past week than I have been in a long time. I mean, we have our standard meetings, but having clients just call, like, needing to talk about what's going on and reasons for change and trying to give advice. It's like, I understand. You're running a business. You got to make decisions. We're working on our side too, trying to make sure we have all our ducks in a row. It's
well, yeah, and
a lot of work.
You guys just got hit. This started late February for San Diego, and you guys had just transitioned into the new full-time employee format.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you really got slapped around twice.
Well, yeah, but it's been beneficial to the people as well, because our employees now, we know they have insurance, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the kind of good things is, we if they were sick or if they had an issue, we know they had some insurance. Then I think the big thing we ended up doing, which I'm fine sharing, I don't know how John feels about it, but we had discussed the whole time about personal time off, how we're going to handle PTO. We decided on, you can accrue a certain amount of PTO, but to be nice, we banked like a week or a couple days of PTO into everybody's account so that nobody started with zero. So everybody had time off to take.
Yeah, I screwed that up. I said a week, or I meant a week, so it should have been 5 days. And as we were talking to people, somehow it became a week, which was 7 days. So everyone got 7 days when I meant it to be 5. Whatever. It happens.
But it doesn't matter, because when all this went down and we realized not only are people getting sick, but people are having to take care of people who've gotten sick, and people who are having to take care of their kids who are home for school and stuff. So John and I just decided, and this is one of the nice things about owning a company, is we had a discussion about it, and we just kind of lifted the whole PTO accrual thing and just said, okay, for the foreseeable future right now, everybody has unlimited PTO. And, that way that, we don't want people to worry about not getting a check because they have to go take care of a mother or father or themselves aren't feeling well. So we kind of did that.
We have one employee who has shared that they are suspected COVID-19 positive. And it's scary listening to their story and how devastating it's been, as far as not being able to really do much of anything, feeling foggy, not being able to think clearly, sleeping a ton because you can't really do anything else. You're just exhausted. So I'm really hoping they are taking care of themselves and get better.
And it's frustrating to hear when they talk about these COVID cases, because I have to keep saying, well, those are the ones that they tested, right? They're people like our person who was never tested. They were just profiled over the computer, over the phone, and said, okay, we're pretty sure you have COVID. Don't bother coming in. Just see if you can tough it out, and if you start to display these symptoms, give us a call back. And it's like, they're not being counted. I'm sure they're not being counted as confirmed COVID cases, and I can only imagine how many of those that are out there.
Yeah, I've talked to lots of people who bring that up, as far as we don't know, and that's the scary part, the fact that we don't know. But their point is almost like, well, if there are 3 or 4 times as many cases than we're aware of, then the the death rate is lower, which is true. But the fact is, the hospitals are still overwhelmed. The fact is, people are still going out. So even if the death rate was what flu is, it's still overwhelming the hospitals. And the fact that you can spread this asymptomatically is the scary part. I'm pretty sure with the flu, you're only contagious when you have a fever. The fact that this one is being spread and people don't even know they have it is what's super scary.
Yeah. You're muted, Tom.
You're muted, Thomas.
Your kids are younger, and so it's easy to just pull the leash and say, you're not going anywhere today. And Eric,
I don't think it's easy.
No, it's not saying easy. I'm just saying you can pick them up and just physically restrain them quite easily. And Eric's girls are well educated and understand the situation, I think, pretty well and respect it. My kids, not so much. My kids are having a very difficult time understanding why we are telling them they cannot leave the house and that we are the worst parents ever because their friend can't come over and hang out just for 5 minutes. And it's
I mean, they're not wrong. As a kid, if I stayed in the house for too long, my parents would just literally put me outside and shut the door. You know. Now it's just the opposite. It's like, hey, what are you doing outside? Get in here right now. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
What are you thinking going out there?
It's and we have 2 immunocompromised people in my house, and the 2 children who are not don't understand. Hey, this thing kills people that are immunocompromised. So, don't kill your brother, please.
It kills people that aren't immunocompromised as well. So
yeah,
I mean, it's just stay home for a little bit, please. Go play some video games.
Fortunately, the stay-at-home order, or the social distancing orders, have been extended to the end of this month, and not just Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't get into the politics of the situation, but let's just say it's stupid.
Oh man, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. So, anybody working on anything interesting? I mean, we're still coding, right? I mean, we do this every day, anyways. Anybody working on any fun code stuff?
I told you a couple weeks ago that I was going to do an upgrade of Laravel to the latest version once there hadn't been a patch for 7 days.
How's that working out?
I am still waiting.
You can that was my logic. I will say that was my logic there for a while. Now it's just like once that major release is done, you just have to decide, hey, if shit hasn't broken within like 2 weeks, I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade, because there won't be a week between releases, buddy. There just won't be.
Well, I'll tell you, 7.3 released 7 days before 7.4. That is the longest span of time.
There's your window. You had your window.
That is the longest span of time in the last 2 months between patches.
Yeah.
I'm getting so frustrated about looking at the 7.0 release changelog, because it's just every couple days non-stop.
Well, but I mean, they're mainly fixes. It's not like they're adding features every release.
Yep, they are.
I'll tell you, man. You should have gone with Symfony.
Yeah. Speaking of upgrades, can I tell you how much I love running Docker in production? I've got my Laravel microservice that I've written is deployed via Docker, and upgrading just even the version of PHP was very nice. Just being able to make a couple of changes, push that up, and then all of a sudden the server's running 7.4.
I don't think I knew you were running that on Docker. How long have you been running that
Yeah,
on Docker?
it's running ever since it was launched. It was launched via ECS.
Nice.
So we're talking about upgrading the main application to 7.4. So we just actually the other night pushed a 7.4 Docker container for local development, so we can start testing that, and hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe a month or two, get that into production. It'll be really nice. Trying to keep them on top of things.
Yeah. That I mean, that's it, right? That was like the goal is, oh yeah, we can just update these individual components now without jeopardizing the entire stack. And if there's a problem, we just roll back to the old version. And yeah, we're going through that on, as you very well know, John. We're going through that as well on a much bigger project, and it's actually a shift from it running on its own LAMP stack to it running in a Docker environment. And we're working through some like every now and then some performance issues pop up that we're kind of working through, but all in all, it's going really well, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting to that stage where we can just swap out components and start upgrading things.
Did they ever figure out it was a speed issue that's been keeping it from going live, right? Has that been figured out?
Yeah, it's looking like database. So we talked about it. This is something maybe you can help out with, Thomas, as well. So this one client is a long running web app that their database has just been growing exponentially. And I mean, we're talking, they have, what would you say, about 15 years worth of data in that database. And I mean, they have, clients that have long gone, and I mean, they have a lot of legacy data that they never access. And just the mere size, the database itself is starting to take up to like 12 hours to back up. So it basically,
Oh, you can still back it up?
yeah,
That's not that big.
Oh, really? So we're starting to look through, and of course, again, 15 years. So think about the 15 years of architecture. Think of the 15 years of development, and trying to just kind of start to extract data out of it is not a super simple concept, but we're kind of going through down that path now. Okay, how can we start to reduce data here and speed things up? And again, back to the Docker conversation, the biggest thing that's going to speed this up is getting them over that 7 hump, the PHP 7 hump, because they're still on 5.6. And it's just been this thing of, okay, how do we get them over the 7 hump? But again,
with the speed of the database, I haven't looked at it in a long time. If they can point to the very specific locations, it's probably not the size of the database as much as it is the queries that are being written.
Right.
They're probably not optimized. The tables aren't indexed. So
or they are
probably
indexed.
Solve a lot of that.
Yeah.
So one of the issues with tables that grow that large is that if they are indexed, that slows down your write speed. So that one of the reasons that people now recommend having a read database and a write database, having them separate, is to address those performance issues, load balance between the two of them, so you get the data written fast, and when you need to read it much later on, it's there. Or not necessarily much later on, but later on. I've had both situations where there were no indexes at all and the whole thing bogged down when you tried to read it. And then I've had situations where it was 10 million records and every column was indexed and you could barely write to the thing. The first step in addressing speed issues like that is finding locks. Locks are the thing that are always going to make the most visually jarring impact on performance, where if you are locking a commonly read value because of poor query strings, then every time someone tries to update their view count on a page and it hits a slow table at the same time, then it's going to lock viewing that page for every user.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that quite a bit.
You know of any good profiling tools?
There are some built-in profiling tools for SQL. Explain on queries can help you.
That's true.
It'll tell you where it's going to create a temp table and where it's going to create a lock on a file or on a row. And I can even tell you that there are older schemas that are prone to locking badly. If this is a 15-year-old table and they haven't updated it to MyISAM from the default MySQL.
That's a good question.
From MyISAM to INNODB.
Right. If they haven't done that conversion, that's a massive, massive change. And just doing that conversion can save your butt. There's also a company, boy, I don't remember what their name.
Percona.
Yeah, Percona. Percona makes a huge number of tools freely available that you can use to profile and even modify with minimal downtime.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually used New Relic quite a bit for this too. Because
how do you use New Relic?
So New Relic will tell you where you're spending time, whether it's database queries or PHP or external services, and then within there it'll tell you what the SQL was, and you can start to figure out, okay, this is my slowest page, and here's the query that's running. You can also use that data to say it's my slowest page, but it's only accessed once in a while, where this one is being accessed way more often, so I need to spend my time here. Unfortunately, it's not a cheap tool, but it's very useful. And for this client, I think it's something that either they should invest in, or we should, spin it up for, a month, gather data.
Yeah,
and try and make improvements.
The profiles done. Yeah, and that has an agent. Is that agent based?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that might be the way to go.
But easy and useful.
Yeah. Yeah, and Percona, that's another good suggestion, Thomas. I always forget about them. They came to SDPHP a couple times and did a couple of presentations, and yeah, they definitely seem to know their stuff.
Oh yeah. The one of the most helpful tools they have is when you're modifying a column or adding a column to a big table. They have a way of doing it online so that the table doesn't go down while the operation's running.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just amazing. I mean, it's
crazy how they do it too.
Yeah.
It's all done with triggers.
Yeah, it's done with this bizarre MySQL magic.
Is it something that can be applied to the generic MySQL database, or do you have to be running their version?
Yeah. You run your generic MySQL.
All it does is, you could do it yourself, but the tool does it automatically. When you're going to alter a field, usually it locks that table until it's done. And when it's a huge table, that could take hours, days.
So yeah, I've had it have days.
It'll create a new table, and then we'll put triggers onto the existing table. So when you do an insert on the existing one, it puts it into the new one. And then it starts copying all the data over. And then once it's done, it just renames the table.
So you have a time period where you have two tables that are basically the same data set that it's kind of topping over. Really?
Yeah. Well, so it doesn't do an alter table. It just creates a new table with the alter already applied to it. That's totally empty, and then it copies the data from one table to the next. And for any data that's being written during that copy process, it hits a trigger that causes the same record to be duplicated.
How is it handling the primary keys in that situation? Like,
it's just ignore. So it knows to stop. It says, okay, the latest key when I put this trigger on is 500,000. So it's going to copy from 1 to 500,000, and then we'll stop at that point. So it's inserting into both. The next record to come in, 500,001, will go into both tables because of that trigger. And then in the copy process, it just stops.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really ingenious if you sit and watch it for 2 days in person while it's doing it, because it generates a log saying this is what I'm doing right now. Mm-hmm. And if you have it open on the console while it's doing it, I mean, I literally sat for 3 days and watched it do its job.
Must have been a long 3 days for you, man. If you literally sat there for that.
But it's better than downtime because you want to change a column.
Yeah.
An unknown amount of downtime, because writing to keys is an exponential task. So like my test would say this thing is going to take 5 hours on 1 million records, and my boss would say, well, what's it going to take on 2 million records? And I'd say, well, 15 hours. Why is it going to be more?
See, this is why enterprises have DBAs. This is why DBAs exist. Stuff like this, man.
Yeah.
Well, what's scary, because I've done it numerous times, unfortunately, is starting that alter process and it's taking forever. The site is down, and then you try to kill it, and then you corrupt your data. That's no fun at all.
That was the one time I actually gave Percona money, was when the
when I was really hosed.
Yep. We had converted from one giant file for all tables to file per table, and lost the pointers for all the records. So all the records were there, but they didn't have their primary keys. And so nothing actually pointed the place it was supposed to. And Percona took the drives and tried to give us back our data.
Tried?
I think we got back 3/4 of it.
Oh.
It was rough. Database stuff is not fun when it gets in the weeds.
Oh, no kidding. And it is unforgiving, man. I tell you. You drop a table, there's no undoing that, man. The table's gone. Damn it.
You forget that where statement. It doesn't ask you if you're sure unless you put it in I'm stupid mode.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I hate... it's funny because databases are one of those few exceptions where you find yourself working in production a lot, because that's where the data is. Yeah, I'm actually working on a project now where I'm having to go into the production database to change some values to have these jobs trigger back off. And every time I do it, as simple as it is, it's just a matter of zeroing out some dates. It's so simple. I know that's when things are going to go sideways on me. I just know it. Databases are rough.
Well, I'll
give
you
SQL Pro as my client, and I have color-coded tabs, so I know which ones are production right. Big red tabs. Be super careful here. Then I have color coding for my read-only ones, so I know those are safe, and then my local ones that I don't care about.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And I try to. And I try to keep all the production ones closed as much as I can, because way too many times I've left them open.
Michael Drinda claims that MyCLI, which is a command line interactive tool for databases, has a stupid mode. I'm going to have to look into that. Or he says it's on my default.
MySQL has it.
Yeah, so
you can't delete unless you have an ID.
No, so it's the _ I am a dummy mode, which requires a where statement on any query.
No, I thought it requires the primary key, not just a where clause.
No, it requires
to delete.
It requires a where clause. So you can
Yeah.
still do mass
by
assignment.
ID.
I didn't think it was by ID. I thought it was just mass assignment prevention, or it was just without a where clause was the issue.
Is that really the switch? I'm a dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a dummy.
Yeah.
That's a developer, man. That's a developer out there. Oh, gosh, I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to test that. I'll test it.
Another
I
hint.
guess you're right. It's just without a where clause. Yeah.
Another hint I'll throw out there for people is if you have an SQL dump and you're trying to import it into MySQL, you can do it as a zip file with Zcat. Have you guys used that at all?
Mm-mm.
SQL files are notoriously large because they're just plain text.
Mm-hmm.
So if you zip it as a .sql.zip or .gz or whatever, Zcat will read it straight out of memory and decompress it and stream it. So you don't have to decompress it and take up 10 gigs of drive space just to run it. So all of my databases are zipped up. All my sample stuff is zipped up, and I Zcat it.
Well, I might have to try that because we actually do, again, for this client with the massive database, we do refreshes of the development environment from production because the databases are constantly changing. That could actually be very helpful. I might hit you up on that one, Thomas. I'm not sure how we're doing the restores there, but that might be useful.
It's nice. I recommend it. I mean, some of my database dumps that I have right now are larger than the drive I have on the machine. So, obviously that won't work.
Well, how does it work? How does it work?
If
It's larger than the drive on the machine? I mean, when you import it, it's larger than the drive on the machine. How does that work?
Doesn't.
Unzip, he's saying.
No, I'm saying it's okay. It's half the size of the drive on my machine. So if I unzip it and then cat it to the database, then it's doubling in size.
I gotcha. Okay, I didn't mean to call you out. I'm sorry about that. Hey, we got Scotland.
Yes, you did.
Scotland's watching us. Look at that, man. We had our numbers were up to 10 viewers. Do you see? Prime time, baby. Prime time.
Is this the new time?
I'm good with it.
The new reporting time?
I'm being forced to ignore a lot of Slack messages from my boss.
He's not saying anything important.
We're about to be wrapping up anyway.
Yeah.
We got nothing else interesting.
I'm working on 2FA.
What are you working on implementing it?
Yeah.
It is pretty simple to do.
It's simple, but what I'm trying to do is idiot-proof it, and that is not as simple.
Nah, that is true.
The most idiot-proof the most idiot-proof ones I see are the ones that just force you to use text messaging. Like, they don't even give you the option of using.
But I hate that one.
I agree with you.
I just want to. I want to just the simple 2FA app, whether it's Authy, Google Authenticator, 1Password.
Yeah, now I learned how those apps work. Authy specifically.
It's all time based.
Yeah, so it's all time based. It's just an algorithm that has a shared unique key. There's no communication between the devices past the QR code, just sharing the key.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a very smart way of doing things. It's just that once you've done it and you're trying to idiot-proof something, then their account is just completely locked out until you fix it.
Yeah.
It's more about teaching people how to use it, really.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Once you get past that, like giving people that 90 days or 30 days, whatever, where they don't have to enter another code.
Well, one of the interesting things that I ran into was it was suggested that they be able to reset their 2FA code by email. So in the same way that if you have a forgot my password, there's also a forgot my 2FA code, and it'll just allow you to reset it. And I had to point out that that defeats the purpose of 2FA. The purpose of 2FA is that I don't have access to it even if I've compromised the system completely. Mm-hmm. I've compromised your system and gotten your email and password, then I still can't get your 2FA code.
I tell you, I'm on the fringe of neglecting the whole 2FA thing myself, because 1Password has a great feature in it where it allows you to add two-factor authentication, but then you run into the issue of you have your password and your 2FA stored in the same application. And man, I tell you what, it is super convenient because when you use 1Password, it automatically pastes your 2FA into your clipboard, allows you to paste it, and then pulls it out of your clipboard. And it's like, I have it configured for a couple sites, and by far love using it more than having to open up Authy and dig through.
I use it for AWS because you have 3 pieces of information to put into the login, then the 2FA on top of that, and it's like I can log in 2 seconds.
Right.
That defeats the whole purpose. You guys are killing me.
I know.
That's so awful.
I know. Well, it doesn't completely defeat it.
It doesn't.
It goes a long way.
It defeats it if somebody gets access to your password account.
Ease of use is the opposite of security.
Understand.
I agree. But
so if you can log into your AWS
it still doesn't completely defeat it.
No, but if you can log into your AWS infrastructure in one click with 2FA and CAPTCHA and password and account ID and user ID.
The same argument can be made for all these password management systems. It defeats the purpose of the password if you have them all stored in, an application that you can unlock and have all your passwords.
No. Because the issue with passwords...
I agree with you, Eric.
No. The issue with passwords is that the site that you're logging into is not necessarily trusted and might reuse your password. Might get your password and try to reuse it.
But if all your passwords are accessible in one application, what difference does it make that the 2 factors also accessible in that same application?
Because then if you compromise that one application, or if that one application gets compromised,
this is my point, though, right? That's still the point of compromise. So even all your passwords are already compromised.
But his point is, if they get access to your password system but not your 2FA, they don't get access to your account because you have to have a separate device or a separate.
I get that, but my point being is that we're already slowly just
There
are layers, man. It's layers. It's an onion. It's layers.
I would like an application. Authy is okay, but I would like one like. Never mind. This is an app we need to build. So, sure.
This idea is not free.
Authy just released a desktop version, which is something I've been waiting for forever.
I've had it installed forever. What are you talking about?
Oh, then maybe I'm the idiot, because the one I've been using the Chrome plugin, and I don't use Chrome anymore. So every time I went to launch Authy, it would launch Chrome in the background so that the plugin would launch. And I just got a notification that says, "Hey, we're discontinuing support for this plugin. You have to download the desktop app."
You want to know something funny? I had the Authy plugin in Chrome, and I didn't even realize I had it.
Yeah.
The levels of coordination between you two are impressive.
That's why we're partners, man. Right there, baby.
Thank you to our Patreons.
Yes, thanks, Patreons. I haven't logged in recently because I just haven't, but I'm sure there's still a couple left, and we really appreciate it. All right, I think that's it. What do you think? Are we wrapping up?
I think so.
This has been a stressful show, man. Like, way too many people have been watching us. If this is your first time watching us, I hope you have an appreciation. We do have all of our shows up on YouTube, but that's like not our thing. It's more of an audio podcast. We just kind of live broadcast. So what you see here is actually gets cleaned up for the audio podcast, believe it or not. So it's a little better, not much.
As professional as it sounded, it gets even better.
Even audio better. Only. We bring more to the table. So
yeah, we actually clean it up and do all that stuff that even Colbert doesn't do.
So give us a listen, and occasionally we actually talk about coding. Every now and then, it's rare, but we talk about development. So this has been fun. Maybe we'll change our time more frequently. This has been fun doing it nice and early. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. Are we wrapping up? Is that it? Is this episode 184? Is in the can?
It is.
I'm Eric.
I'm John.
I'm Tom.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
See, that gets all fixed up in post.
See, it gets all lined up, and we all sound like we're on cue together.
Yeah, when I'm editing it, that's the most editing I do is that one line.
I'm stopping recordings. Stopping local recordings.
Change the time. Nuno wants us to change the time.
Nuno, your vote has been counted. Thank you. We will consider it just for you. We even got we got Jake Bennett and Michael Dorinda on with us at the same time. We should have pulled them into the show. We had them on the show. They're fun fact. They've been our only guests on the show. Michael Dorinda and Jake Bennett joined us for I think way back when we did our 1 year. Yeah. Oh, was it 100?
Oh, 1 year. You're right. 1 year, 52.
Yeah. I think it was the 50. Yeah. So they've been the only guests, and I'm not sure that's something to be proud of.
You notice they didn't want to help with any other milestones. They did that one, and we're done.
Exactly. Every now and then they have a little gathering of podcasters. We're never invited. It's like no, we're not calling those ugly guys. Screw them. Jeez. You want to hear something fun though? I have no idea why this is, but Michael Dorinda and I, he called me up on Skype after Laracon, I think last year, or it might have been last year or the year before, I forget. But we did like this post Laracon thing, and it must have been last year because I didn't have my home office set up. I still had all the stuff. I just moved all the stuff into our office, and I didn't have my mic. I didn't get another mic for the house or anything. So we did this little post Laracon talk, and it's like his highest viewed YouTube video. I don't know what the number. Mike's still here. If he sticks around long enough, maybe he'll share the number. But it was like up to a couple 1,000 views. It's crazy, and it was just like this. It's horrible. Like my audio is absolutely wretched. It's terrible. But for some reason we recorded it, and a ton of people watched it, and to this day I have no idea why. To this day, I have no idea why people watch us here, so that really doesn't doesn't change anything.
That is true.
You don't even know why you participate in the podcast still.
Yeah. Mike just pinged me. It says 2011. I assume that's what the view's up to. So, not that that's big numbers for real YouTubers, but it's the biggest one I've been a part of. So, all right, I think that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. Oh, this is something else. If you're watching right now, you don't get this in the audio podcast. This is like our little post chatter that we do, but I don't know. I think I'm cutting it short today because I know, John, you have somewhere to run to.
Oh, so. Yeah. I try and get some more work done, and then good old 5 o'clock. Time to bail out of here.
Yeah, totally. All right, thanks for everybody watching.
Gotta relieve the wife. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate everybody giving us a view. Bye.
Bye.
Ah.
It says finish and then